¿Qué es la que, corillo? Bienvenido a otro podcast de Driftisland. Esta semana ha estado súper brutal, hermano. Esta semana, de verdad, la hemos pasado de show. Y este podcast de hoy, en verdad, yo creo que va a hablar más Pedro, porque en verdad yo soy malísimo hablando inglés. Pero me la voy a tirar. Tú sabes que ustedes siempre yo me la tiro. Hoy tenemos al corillo de Tuner Evo. Hoy tenemos a Jay. Y I forget your name.
Shaun.
Y Shaun. ¿Qué es la que hay, corillo?
¿Cómo
What's up?
estamos? Bien.
We got
What you guys doing?
Thanks for coming,
our
man.
special guest
We
over
got
here.
Xavier
Oh,
over here.
Xavier. Special guest.
Shaun's son.
Yep.
Welcome. So, welcome guys. Welcome to the T-shirt printers. This is where Drift Island makes their shirts. This is where Drift Island has their podcast. So this is our headquarters, pretty much.
Nice spot.
What do you mean pretty much?
Yeah.
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 Appreciate you guys having us for sure.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were doing like I call it calentando in Spanish. Like we were talking before the podcast about warming things up before the podcast, and we talked about a lot of things that I'm glad we talked about because I can ask you them now in the podcast. But I wanted to know. Let me start with Jay. Like I wanted to know, like how did you get here? How did you start liking cars? When did you start liking cars? Was it your parents? Was it friends? How was it?
I mean, there was a time that I lived in, cause I'm Dominican, Puerto Rican. There was a time that I lived in DR. My cousins were all a lot older than me, and that was in the late '90s, mid '90s. They had the Honda Civics in DR and stuff like. They were brand new cars at the time too.
Hondero también.
Yeah. So then when I came back from DR in 1995, 96, I came into New York, and literally from the first time I saw a Volkswagen Jetta, and I fell in love with it. It was a red one. Kept looking at it, and then I moved from New York to Pennsylvania later in life, and Pennsylvania is really much known for the Volkswagen scene and the mini trucking magazine scene, and I just fell in love with that styling. I was very young. I was probably Xavier's age, 15 years old, and then probably like ninth grade was probably like 2000, and is when I decided to go to my first car show, which was Carlisle Performance and Style, and that just
Oh, what was the name again? What was the name?
Carlisle Performance and Style.
Okay.
That was in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. It was my very first event I've ever attended, and I was probably like 16 years old, and it just blew me away. I just never stopped from that point. Like, I just fell in love with cars. And but from that point, it was basically, getting to know a lot of people in the culture. It was just car stuff. It was never about, car shows at the time yet. But throughout the way in our industry, especially in the early 2000s, the automotive culture was big. I mean, from 2000 all the way to 2007, it was probably the biggest I've ever seen to this day. And I wish we had social media then, man. Like, I think about it all the time. But I started a car club with my best friend, Jeremy. We had about like 15 to 20 members. We went to multiple car shows.
And that's still in Philly?
No, more in York, Pennsylvania. I actually live in York, PA, is where TE was started.
Okay.
I didn't say the other word. And I got you. So I started a car club in York, Pennsylvania. It was about 10, 12 of us, and we went to multiple car shows around the way and just loved it. And then we graduated from high school. That's where me and Jeremy met. And when we graduated, Jeremy started a skateboard shop in our local area. So he was very much into skateboarding, but at the same time, his parents were very involved with East Coast volleyball, volleyball for girls. So his dad was like the East Coast commissioner for volleyball, and what he wanted to do was have an activity while the girls were not doing anything, waiting for the next match. So by having some type of activity, his father came up with the idea of us doing a car show, because we were already doing kind of like grocery store car shows, you know what I'm saying? Like at the local grocery store, at the church, stuff like real small, real cool. But it was never our intentions to even go to the route that we were at. But then when his dad came up with the idea, we decided to come up with a name. We had no idea what to name it. We had 2 months to promote it. And one time, and if you guys look it up, research it, Techademics, Midshift, Dustin Worrell. He was someone that myself and Jeremy looked up to because he was like the jackass of the automotive industry, but on MTV, on the special TV highlights, and we looked up to it. So we just one day just got stuck watching his videos, and we saw a drift car coming in and it said Revolution, and we already had like in mind that we wanted to call it Tuner, but had no idea what to call it as. So he said, let's call it Tuner Revolution at the first time. And I was like, nah, let's drop the R and create a evolution. And then we looked up the definition and everything just to make sure. And 2 months with promo of our first show was a free event. We had 300 cars and never looked back.
And what year was this?
2006.
2006 was your first Tuner Evo event?
First Tuner Evolution event, 2006. April 19th of 2006.
In York. It was in York.
PA. Funny that I know that, right?
You remember how many cars win?
300 cars.
300 cars?
300 cars. Very first year.
How many times you guys say Tuner Evolution?
I don't know, like 3 or 4 already.
And I said it again.
Don't worry about it.
I'm drunk already, man. Might will start bringing all the shots. And I don't even do that. Go ahead.
Ya mismo.
Okay, so 2006. Tell me what happened next. Before you tell me, did you after you went out of high school? Did you study business? Did you study marketing or something? Or was
No,
it just
no,
it was all organic? You learned throughout the way.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly was just I attended a lot of other car show events before even Tuner Evolution.
And you were
It was just the people that I met. You know, I went as far as New York City. I went as far as Virginia. In York, Pennsylvania, where I'm at, it's probably like a good solid 2.5 to 3.5 hours from New York City, or 2 hours away from DC. So I'm in the mix of Philly, South Jersey. So I can be within different car scenes very fast, you know? So every year I just always paid attention to the car show schedules and understood what the events looked like when it came to who are the bigger events. Because when you go, you understand and see what type of event it is, and if it's a larger scale or a smaller scale, you understand the type of event it is. So I already had that in mind, you know, like I understood it because of the car clubs too. You know, we had to understand what shows to go to, but it was something that, you know, we made sure that we understood it before moving forward, you know, and we already knew people in the industry by the time we started in 2006.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what about, talk to me about your work group for Tuner Evo. Was that first event just you and Jeremy?
Yeah, it was actually it was myself and Jeremy, and then the car club members that we had at the time. They were heavily involved.
So they all pitched in on that event?
Yeah, my parents, you know.
So your
friends of friends.
Your parents were always supportive
from day one
of you doing all these events and
Absolutely.
all that. And at that point, did you see a future doing events
at all?
Because that first event you told me it was free. It was free, right?
Yeah, it was free to the public. We still charge for car registrations.
Okay.
But it was free to the public, and then it was all outdoor. And then the following year we did the same exact venue and then it became indoor and outdoor. When it became indoor and outdoor, especially around that time, like Hot and Pro Nights was very big at the time, 2006, 2007. Hot and Pro Nights had a different like style of theme of an event where you saw mainly like more like a night show theme, you know? And with us, we grew up in the skateboarding industry. We grew up in the BMX industry, especially from where we're at. So we wanted to involve that. So those are the type of aspects that within the events that we do was very much important to us because that's how we grew up, you know. So we invited someone, like example, Darren Harper from Famous Stars and Strap. Remember the clothing line, Famous Stars and Strap?
I don't.
Early 2000s.
Maybe I know what it is, but I don't know it by name.
You ever heard of a DGK?
DGK, yeah.
Just the same thing.
Okay.
Dirty Ghetto Kids from Philly. So Stevie Williams, stuff like that. So we were into that. So what we did in our indoor shows, we had skateboarding. We had a section where we had mini ramps and you had skaters all day. And outside the show, because it was an indoor-outdoor show, we had a motorcycle stunt team. We had a burnout competition. You know, we had SPL. You know what that is? The bass competition with the speakers.
Yeah.
But not like, traditional now, but more like inside the car.
Yeah, we call that here boceteo.
Boceteo. Yeah. So it was a little bit trial and error to figure out what we do, you know what I mean, like what we like. So we stuck to the more like, I guess to say underground, like not so mainstream. We never really at the time wanted to get a big name artist or anything like that.
Ahí llegó para su lado, un saludo de Sato ahí.
Oh man,
Llegó,
this
mira.
guy, llegó este. What's up, my brother? So,
Está pasando, mijo.
how's it going, my man? Like that.
Espérate, ¿empezamos otra vez? No.
He knows the drill. I think there's another chair. Maybe?
Sí, hay una silla por ahí.
But since then, it was just trial and error, and we stayed into the York Fairgrounds. That was where we started. York Fairgrounds from 2006 all the way through 2009, and in 2010, our web designer. So I gotta give credit to Dan as well. It was me, Jeremy, but Dan took care of the website. He started our first website, and he's still with us since 2006. And Dan was always supportive of what we did. So at the time, I was working a full-time job. And at the 2008, 2009 was when the recession mainly happened. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
I lost my job.
Yeah,
And a lot of people lost their jobs, and it came down to like, man, I have no way to figure out what I'm going to do next. And I just decided to go full-time with it. We were at the show in 2010. He had a kid. We took a year off in 2010. We did York, downtown York at the York baseball stadium for like 2 years. And in 2012 is when we decided to move the show to Philly for the first time. Yep.
So, what's the show's name?
Tuner Evolution. Man, you guys trying to get me.
So I was gonna say, well, you were talking about hot import nights and all that. Like the states and Puerto Rico were pretty linked up because that was the time where we had the Furious Wheels.
I've heard of it. I heard a lot about it from you guys. Yeah.
And Sato was a big participant in those events because that was the time when Sato was starting doing the.
What year
AZ
was that
stuff.
roughly?
First one was like
1900s.
1897.
Yeah.
1897. Diablo.
Oh, first one I took. First one they started doing drifting. It was the driver search for the PRDA, which was first Puerto Rico's drift entity.
Puerto Rico Drift Association, the first one, yeah.
And I believe that was like 08.
Yeah, so
Oh, 8?
so it was
Wow.
pretty much the same time you guys were doing
Okay.
the shows.
I didn't know that.
Then we went to the other one. It was online, but it was like privateer. Go get your car. Go ahead, do some donuts there. Sort of like a demo thing. And that wasn't like the competition the prior year. Then 2010, it was just auto show your drift car, no, nothing.
Like no car show.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, before us, car show what? I mean, there is car shows here in Puerto Rico, obviously. But what I'm saying is, like, kind of like the tuner market. Prior to us, when was the last time like that? Nothing?
The year you came, the year you first came, or was it second year?
The first year he came was
2019.
The old school guys tried to bring back one of the big events.
Yeah.
But they were not into the stance movement, so they missed by miles.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Freaking day.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Say names.
I'm not like that.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, just kidding.
Yeah.
I had my rodeo because I had my car at your show, and then I was doing the demo in the other show.
I was drifting.
I remember.
I was drifting at that one other show, and I was doing coverage in your show.
Wow. At the same time.
And I filmed with Z-Wing the after movie the day before we did the exhibition on the other show. My engine blew up on the show.
That's when your rods say goodbye.
Yeah.
Rods left the shack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2012 Tuner Evo.
So 2012 Tuner Evo was basically the last time I did a show in New York. And basically to understand what was the move was the recession happened. Car show industry in general got very slow from like 2009 to 2012. And a lot of companies that were around either didn't stick around or it just got very light. So I ended up doing events outdoors, and then WeekFest came from the West Coast to the East Coast for the very first time, and it was exactly the same weekend as our show in New York. And to be honest with you, it inspired me because we already did 4 shows indoors. We were already used to being indoors events, but because of the fact that, with the recession, we had to adjust. And what's funny is that for 2 years, 2011 and 2012, I had the manager in Philly just calling me and saying, "Hey, I want you to bring your event here." And it was a lot because it was a big change for me as far as going from York. I was so used to only doing one specific location, and only just 2 hours away. It was nerve-wracking because I had no idea who will come to that. But a lot of the New York, New Jersey guys that saw my events from way past enjoyed seeing them. They wanted to come, but it was like, they're like, "Jay, I live in Queens. It takes me an hour and a half to get out of just New York, let alone from New York, 4 hours to PA." And that's when I really understood, like, man, I got to get closer to these guys and see what it does. And that manager in the convention, the expo center in Philly just kept calling me. And I went up to the visit the very first time, 2012, in September 2012. And August 3rd of 2013 is when I did the first Philly show. And that changed everything, changed a lot of things, because that's when I decided also to go full time. As you heard that I lost my job and I didn't even know what to do.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So yeah.
So tell me, let's kind of jump from there to Puerto Rico. You told me Puerto Rico was like when you started doing the big shows, like the Philly show.
Right.
That's always been in the conversation.
So
right.
when we were talking about the expansion with my buddy Angel Garcia at the time, we were talking about like, man, if we're going to Philly, where would we go besides Philly if we ever want to? And the first city that we talked about was actually Chicago. But at the time, again, we were still new at it, and for some reason, 2014, we had 2 different car clubs come from Charlotte, North Carolina, big time. All of them came like 15 deep from Charlotte all the way to Philly. And they said, "Man, we need something in Charlotte. We have absolutely nothing." And that's when I'm like, "Hey, find me a building." And literally in 2.5 months prep time, after Philly show, we turned around, went and did Charlotte, North Carolina.
North Carolina, right? Yeah.
Yep, that was our first big move out of the state. And Charlotte's, yeah, man, like it's a smaller community, but the fans come out deep. A lot of love in Charlotte. So we did that, and then when, like you were saying, the expansion of like where should we go, the idea of Puerto Rico did come up, but I didn't see the light. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't know where to even start. So in 2015, I was already doing Philly, Maryland, Charlotte, North Carolina. We went into the first time to Daytona Beach, Florida. By that time, I was living in LA. I decided to move to LA just to go, because every single time I went to LA, I was only there for a weekend, and it's kind of hard to network. And, as we all know, the LA is kind of like the mecca of the automotive culture. And I really wanted to understand why and what that was. And I was already going to SEMA since 2007. So I was already meeting people out in SEMA prior in the West Coast. So living in LA is when I decided for the first time to call the Puerto Rico Convention Center. And the reason why I called is because, to be honest, Google and YouTube is your best friend.
Yeah.
So I Googled car shows in Puerto Rico, and the PR Racing Expo came up. Now to this not to this day, but like prior to the actually doing the show, I had no idea what the PR Racing Expo was.
Sado, that was the first car show en convenciones. Sí, no, es como no te pongas técnico, es nuestro trade show, whatever. Lo primero que se hizo de carro.
Yeah, but when I saw the video, and I'm thinking it was like in 2014, 15 is when I saw it. I saw Skylines, I saw drag cars, I was like, bro, they got cars there. So that's when I called the convention center, and when they explained to me the terms of being able to do an event there, I had no idea what a promoter's license is, because in the United States we don't need that. So you can live in the United States tomorrow and start a car show, but here it's different, you know. So I had no idea what that was, and you know, we just kept growing. That was 2015. I moved back to PA, and that because LA was a temporary thing. Moved back to PA and started expanding into Chicago and Atlanta. That's when myself and Shaun started working till 2016.
No, 2000. So it's 2015.
2015 we met.
Because we went to Chicago for the first time. We did Atlanta, and then we started doing working on SoCal.
Right.
On California. On the
So
first time going out there.
at the time, we were starting to build up a lot more events under our belt, and I've always said, like, man, you know, can't handle it all, you know. So we've been going to LA, SEMA and stuff like that. He was meeting a lot of the people, and I just kept telling him, like, man, this is your show. Like, this is, you know, you need to stick to SoCal. You know what I mean? Because it's the vibes, man. You know, when you throw good energy and people feed off that, people will always like to be a part of what you're doing, you know?
So now we're talking 2017 now, SoCal 2017?
We started SoCal, the very first one in 2018.
2018?
2018.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was the year before you did Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So you started SoCal. Did you already announce Puerto Rico when you started SoCal?
No.
Yeah.
Started talking about it, but I don't think because we came out here, we had to get all like the logistics and all like the legalities done.
I think we came out here in 17.
SoCal.
At the end of 17,
we
right?
came out here at the end of 17, and then you did the show in 19. So it took a while.
Because we did it in a year and a half. I do remember that.
You announced it, I think, the summer before.
Of 17, but we did it in 19 because we said we wanted a year and a half prior because we never did the show.
Yeah.
Because we came out here the first time to look at the convention center.
At the PR Racing Expo.
It was right after the hurricane.
Right.
It was right after the
You went to the show?
I'm sorry?
You went to the show?
Yeah, so
The PR Racing
Racing
Expo.
Expo?
Yeah, we planned to go to that. They told us to come to that weekend because we'll at least be able to see some cars, you know?
Yeah, you could visualize what your show would look
and the
like.
venue,
as soon as we walked in, we got to see like what it looked like,
The layout.
What you can do, what you can do with your show.
It blew my mind. That place was crazy. I mean the way that the vendors and everybody were set up there with trusses and all that is just way different than what
that we're used to
back home. So we were just we needed all that time to prepare and get ready for.
Right.
We're still not ready sometimes for what you guys bring to us. So it is what it is.
Now that we're getting closer to PR, before we start talking straight up Tuner Evo Puerto Rico, I want to know what I want to know your story, Shaun, because you told me you passed through some troubles and all that because you were Tuner Evo, then you took a little break. But like, what were you doing before you met Jay?
So I grew up as a street racer, really. I was always into racing and just causing a ruckus with cars. I didn't care about what they look like or anything like that. And I started real young. From there, I really just got involved with like a tight-knit group of kids that just had like the same passion, and we all hang out till this day. So this circle just kind of grew together. As we got older, I realized that it was a group of kids that like worked hard and we did things. So it was like time to do more than just street racing and the car wash hangouts and all that. So we started doing like little car shows, local.
And where are you from originally?
Out in so I'm from. I'm about 35 minutes north of Boston, out in Massachusetts.
Okay.
I actually live in New Hampshire, which is north of Mass. But so we grew up just going to like little local car shows and stuff like that, and we had a lot of fun, and we started being a little bit more structured and whatnot. And then as we got older, we got more serious into racing, building more like track cars, and some of the guys grew up and got into higher end cars and kind of split up or whatever. But that was how I got into cars. And then I got away from cars for a little while to go back to school. And so I was in sales for a long time. That's what I did when I graduated high school and stuff. And
But did you study for it, or you went straight to work and...
so I graduated high school. I went straight to work. I started working in like wireless sales and stuff. So that's what I was doing. But at that point, I had decided to kind of part my first car that I actually built from the ground up. I had bought this 99 Civic and built the car from literally nothing. It had no bolts, nothing in it. I parted ways with that. It was hard to do that, obviously. And I went to school. And then that's actually what triggered like photography and stuff like that for me. Because I had to take an elective, and it was like the only thing that didn't seem so boring. So I was like, I'll do this. And then, I had to get a camera, and I'd do this and this and that. So I ended up taking to that really well. So that kind of got busy for me, and I ended up dropping my entire career in wireless sales and decided to go full-time photography. And
what year is this?
This was 2014-15.
Okay.
But what I did was I actually got back into cars and started going to some of the car shows and talking to like the, more popular car guys and the bigger car clubs and stuff, and taking pictures of their cars and everything. And in 2015, Performance Auto Sound magazine, Randy from Pass Mag reached out to me and featured one of my photos in the magazine. So that was super cool. And then he actually ended up hiring me and putting me on their staff to shoot, features and show coverage and all that. So throughout that year, a lot of my coverage from like the local shows would all go in the magazine and online or whatever. So that was really cool. So that made me get back into the car scene in a different way. I met Jay
differently. We didn't even meet through cars at all.
Right. So we met through shooting like models and stuff. So he came out to Massachusetts and was out there shooting, and we had linked up. And after everything, he was telling me about TE and that he owned a car show and all this stuff. And to be honest with you, I really didn't even care in the beginning. I was just like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? Because
he didn't know what it was.
I had
really.
no interest in car shows or anything like that. Like, if it wasn't fast, it wasn't for me, you know what I mean? So he ended up giving me a booth out in Philly and for my media stuff. And I went out there and I brought a bunch of friends out. And I think I brought like 20 something cars from Boston out there. Like, It was a really cool like setup, and it was really dope because it was different. But the morning that I walked into the show and saw like what it really entailed, I was like, somebody give me a staff shirt because I'm working, right? So I actually told Vicky used to work with us, and I was like, hey, Vicky, Jay said to give me a staff shirt, which he didn't. So I got a staff shirt, and then I started learning how to do. I went over, and John Paul used to work with us. And he was doing layout, and I went over and I was like, hey man, I'm supposed to be learning this, so like halfway through I learned it, and I finished the other half by myself, and I just loved it, so from there I went down to the first Daytona show, and I loved it out there. I did the same thing.
What year is this again? What year?
This was 2016.
16?
16, yeah. So I like I said, I loved it, and it was different because now I saw the car scene, and I went from being home and seeing what everybody did there. Then I was in Philly and saw how amazing that was, and now I was in Daytona and saw how different but still how amazing it was.
Then Charlotte,
and then the third show was Charlotte. But all through the shows, I got to meet a lot of the staff and people that made TE what it was, and that's really what I grasped onto, was like that family feeling, like meeting media people and the people that work day to day, and there's a lot of moving parts to it, you know what I mean? So that was what I really liked, was enjoying like being able to see family every month, once a month. We knew we like had that weekend together, Charlotte, I think, is where like we really made it permanent, where I kind of was like, all right, I'm here, I'm going to all these events or whatever.
Charlotte's my favorite show. It's the smallest one, and it's like I don't know, it's something about it, right?
And then just Charlotte's crazy. They filled it's a smaller building, it's a smaller event, but people show up. They just love to come and show love to everybody that's a part of the event, from models to staff to you know, whoever is part of it. There's so many thank yous and handshakes and everything. It's very similar to Puerto Rico, just a very smaller community, you know, community. But I mean, from there we started working on shows like Chicago, Atlanta. Didn't go so well, and we learned from, you know, trial and tribulations, I guess, you know. But like the first year in Chicago was great event, just wasn't great with like spectators and stuff, you know. But it was good enough to make a decision and go back, you know. And that's really what we look for when we start new events, because there's a lot of work that goes into going somewhere for the first time, you know what I mean? And then you learn that first time, and you got to change it the second time, and then you got to do even more for the third time, you know? So, you know, we learned a lot here. This is the third year here in Puerto Rico, right? So we learned a lot of stuff this year that nobody really looked at and stuff the year before and the first year, you know. And this year, you know, we're already talking about what can we do to make it, you know, easier, smoother, better, you know what I mean, like all around. You know, we start talking about it the day after. We don't actually, you know, wait until next year to get on it.
It's fresh.
So yeah, we did what, Chicago, Atlanta, SoCal, which our first Anaheim show was crazy, man. It was, bro, it was
a line.
The line of cars to get in there, I couldn't even like tell you, bro. Like
that's the 2017 show,
2018 Southern California.
The first, it was the first one we had, man. Like the fire marshal was telling me I couldn't put cars in the building anymore, that we were maxed out.
We were hour late opening the doors,
bro. I was like sneaking cars in through the exits. I was like, yo, take the fire marshal over there for a minute so I can get this car in. I had a team of out there, Sunke Blue, and they're a team of LAPD police officers.
Yep.
And,
car club.
And it's a car club, and their cars are fire. So what happened was I had to make it so they could roll in early morning instead of setup because of how they work and stuff. And the fire marshal was like, shut that door. You can't bring any more cars out. And I had like 18 of their cars outside. I got them in. Literally, as the door was closing, I'm creeping the last car in and stuff, you know. But we learned a lot. We learned that we need a whole extra day to get everybody. It's like here in Puerto Rico, we need that extra day to get a big portion of cars in, because it's too much for one day. It's already a long event because we don't have 2-day events anywhere else.
No, there's only one.
So for our team to come out here,
the only one. We do the first one.
You know, we land on Wednesday or Thursday, and everybody gets to work as soon as they get out here, you know. So for our team to come out here and do everything, you know, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, that's a long day for everybody, you know. So it's a learning curve for sure. And but it's been a long, fun, you know, fun time. And I'm fortunate that from being a street racer to now, like, I just get to do car stuff every day. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Shaun mentioned photography, and I forgot to ask you before we keep going with Puerto Rico. Did photography start with you with cars, or did you like photography back when you were doing the skateboarding scene and all that?
It's funny, man, because I never thought I had any type of creative like concept. Like, I can't draw, I can't do none of that, you know. I think where the photography aspect came in was when I, like, early on, like maybe 2012, when I was always hanging out with my buddy Jason Heiner. He was a photographer, and I worked with him to help me do the flyers for the show. Because at the time, like back then, we only just did one flyer. That was the flyer of the show, and that's what you kept doing. That's what you kept promoting when there was none of this multiple flyer stuff. So all I had was just one flyer, maybe a poster, a couple pictures, and that was it. That's all I needed. So, but hanging out with Jason was really cool because he also was like really into shooting models and stuff like that. But I was always just there, you know. And one time, a friend of mine, she was in high school. I knew of her. I used to hang out with her sister, and then we kind of knew of each other in high school. Then later in life, she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I just moved back from Arizona. Let's hang out." So, hung out with her and became good friends. And at the same time, we started shooting with her, just for like the promo modeling and for the t-shirts and stuff like that. But I never shot. I was just there. And one time I took pictures with my phone, and she told me, she's like, Jay, you got a really good eye for photos. I think you should start shooting. So my same friend Jason was like, hey, I'm thinking of upgrading my camera. I'll sell you my camera. And it was a Canon 50D, a potato. You know, and to be honest with you, it was a $300 body, and I forgot one lens he sold me with, and it was $1,000. I bought the camera, and he gave me the bag, batteries, and that bag and battery sat for 8 months. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to turn on. I didn't know nothing about photography. I didn't know how to do it, because even one time I called him up, I was like, yo, so I'm looking at the settings, right? And how do I didn't understand the concept, like the setting part. I had no idea.
That's me.
Yeah. So it just so happens that one time that she kept, pushing me. She's like, hey, have you shot with your camera yet? I was just like, don't know who to shoot. She's like, shoot me. So next thing you know, we just started like practicing, and at the time I was shooting in auto. I had no idea what that was really about, and one time, maybe like within 4 or 6 months of just picking the camera up, I was invited to go to New Jersey with my buddy Kenny Cano, and he had this guy named I forget his name. He came all the way from Colombia, and he literally said, if you want good quality photos, you got to shoot manual. And I had no idea what that even meant, but he put my camera in manual. He said, do not change that, and just learn from there. And hanging out with some other guys that understood the technology of the technical part of the settings, they explained to me photography is just about balance. You have to learn the balance of what you're shooting and what type of light you're in. And little by little, I just started practicing, and I just kept going with it. Within a year and a half, I kind of knew what I was doing. But the style was kind of there, but not really yet until I met up with Shaun. That's how we started shooting. When I met Shaun, I was probably only shooting for like a year and a half, and he knew a lot more about photography because he was already working in it. And just together, like learning the concepts and stuff, I just kept shooting, and it's been a good solid 5-6 years maybe. Can't remember. But it's awesome, because then I was able to meet and work with a lot of different models, or even just lifestyle type of photos that I actually really liked and envisioned. And seeing other artists, like himself and other people in California, and see how they were shooting, and just I was admired and inspired by what they were doing. So I kind of wanted to bring that into my style, or do it different in my way,
And do you think you becoming like your own photographer? Do you think that helped you create a better relationship for like the models you use for that work in your shows, or your?
It was a little bit of both, because I tried my best to almost separate the photography and the show.
In the show, yeah.
Because I just needed it was kind of like a little small outlet.
Yeah.
Because I was already since 1999, 2000, just doing car stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try something different. So it was about 2015, 16 when I really like dabbled into it. But yeah, I worked with girls that have nothing to do with cars, or I work with girls that are in the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of both.
Okay, perfect. So now, obviously, now we can segue straight to Tuner Evoluton, Puerto Rico. The first question that comes to mind, because this guy does everything. This guy does a bunch of stuff. He's got his own brands. He's got his own businesses. I want to talk a little bit about how you met Ed.
Edgar, man, it's crazy that we were talking about PR Racing Expo. I can't recall. I think it was.
We're talking about Edgar
Vives, Pit Stop.
The Hyper Meat Pit Stops.
So I think we were at the PR Racing Expo. I knew Andy from Fiebrus.
Okay.
I knew him because when I first started coming to Puerto Rico, I think he just approached me and said, hey, man, anything you need, we're here, And just one time we were at the PR Racing Expo, and I was talking to someone, and I said, man, I'm looking for a new graphic designer for the show. And he's like, actually, hold on. He's right there. Let me walk up to him.
Was that before? That was before the show, or is that?
This was before the show.
Before the show.
No, actually, I'm sorry. After the first 2019 show, this is 2020. Like, 2021 when COVID like just happened and we're kind of getting back in the swing of things. I think it was the very first PR Racing Expo after COVID. I was there, and then someone introduced me to Edgar, and Edgar worked our. No, I lie. It was actually right before COVID because Edgar's first show was the Southern California show that got canceled. Okay. So it was PR Racing Expo 2019. Met him there. We already did our first show in Puerto Rico, and then when we went to do SoCal in 2020, he came out to California with me when the show got shut down. So that was his first show that he worked for me, and his first design, and we just stayed with it. You know what I mean? Like, because of what was going on with COVID, there was so many unanswered questions and things going on. And he stuck it out with me, you know. And then when the schedule started rolling again and started building up again, we got busier and busier. And then to a point where, you know, merch and, you know, the branding and all the flyers that you see, and even just making a flyer of Happy New Year's, you know, like, I got you, you know, just to make sure the brand always has some type of relationship on social media and in our website, you know.
Okay. Talk to me about the first Tuner Evolution, cause in
Puerto Rico?
I still feel like, at least as a spectator, because that first Tuner Evo, I did the media application and you guys accepted it, but like, I mean, like, the after movie. I mean,
man,
the after movie was such a big thing for that first one, because it was the first time you came here.
Right.
So you made all these interviews, you met all these people. Like, how was that process?
Well, the first event, it was a big thing here in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
As soon as you guys announced that this was gonna happen, everybody went crazy. To be honest, everybody went crazy. Everybody went to spend all their money on their cars.
Oh my God! I thank everyone for it. What's that?
And it was a big thing, and my pocket knew it.
Yeah, and my pocket knew it.
I remember the first time we came out.
Yeah,
here,
we came. He was with us.
We did like a small garage meet. It was probably like 15 cars. They were like, "Oh, we want to hold a little meet for you," and it was crazy. I was telling them, I was like, "Man, I feel like a celebrity out here." Then we went to a Euro show. And,
Eurofest.
And
Yep.
Agroturístico, yeah.
Anybody with a Tuner Evo shirt, I promise they'd carry you through the parking lot. It was literally like, I never felt like that. And
felt so welcoming.
I've been to so many cities. We've had so many shows. You meet hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, but nobody treated us the way that Puerto Rico did that first like couple times just us coming out here. I mean, I remember sitting down with like Telemundo and all these people like talking about like promo, and I was like, man, my grandmother grew up watching this stuff, and I'm like talking to these people. You know what I mean?
We was at the Mega. We went to the La Mega. We was in the office.
We went to
La Mega.
We talked to the big CEO and Mega and everything, man.
Yeah, we were in the studio over there and everything. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
That's the first time we met Jackie Fontanet.
Yeah, and it was it was wild too, because we came here right after the hurricane, so it was like, it was cool to see. It wasn't cool to see, but it was nice to see that after something so traumatic, like the spirits were still high. Yeah. Everybody, like, it was very humbling to come here and see how much like you guys were still working hard to keep things going. You know, everybody's working together, and it was actually an amazing experience to like be out here for the amount of time that I was. Besides the car stuff, you know, like it made sense to do something that big here. It didn't feel like a car show at the time, because the way people were talking about it was more for something for the island and the economy and all that stuff.
In general.
Like, you know, just something in general. And that was one of the best parts of being a part of that. I wasn't able to actually come to the first 2 years of the Puerto Rico events, but I was, you know, blessed with the opportunity to be here beforehand and be a part of like the planning and all that stuff. So I already knew how big and how important it was to everybody, you know, and being able to experience it this time around was just mind-blowing, to be honest with you. Everybody's been telling me and talking to me about it, but it wasn't until like I saw the tow trucks and all that stuff that I was just like, oh my God, man, what are we gonna do?
Kept telling them.
I didn't. And I'm usually really cool and calm under those situations, but bro, I didn't know what to do with those tow trucks. You guys are wild. So it's definitely for anybody that hasn't come to this event or hasn't like been to Puerto Rico, like you should definitely plan on coming to Puerto Rico the weekend of of this event for sure, because it's definitely
Massive.
an experience. You know, not even just for TE. Like I'm not even trying to. It's not even trying to promote like us. It's really you guys. Like you guys show out every single year. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I've met people that literally have showed me pictures of their build, and they're like they're just building for this event, and I'm like that's wild. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's crazy to me. I
It does- it
appreciate
does
that.
happen,
No,
because
I know.
When Jay went to Secret Garage he went and talked to my boss about the show. You know, I gave
I
him
remember
the
C3.
my car was 100% stuck,
Yeah.
and I told him I'm building my car for your show.
Yep.
I was telling Pedro earlier that I had a guy showing me pictures. He built his Banshee in his kitchen. It
Yeah.
was on blocks in his
Yeah.
kitchen,
The one
bro.
that was
He
at
showed-
Gui's booth.
Yeah.
The one that right next to the stage.
Uh-huh.
That
He
one.
built that thing like right in his kitchen.
Right
He
in his
showed
kitchen. It
me
was
pictures from the day he
beautiful.
got it, completely stock, to pulling it apart. And
Yeah, you got
putting
sazon
back
on
to-
it.
Yeah. Right in the kitchen.
You know, they're truly proud. They're truly proud of what they're
Yeah.
doing and stuff. So you guys are awesome.
And I would like to add to something that he said too. Like when we came to Puerto Rico when the hurricane happened, you know, as I was telling you earlier, like the real last time I really came to PR was like when I was a young kid, and so seeing how like the hurricane really left the island, that's what I saw at first, you know. But then when I started coming here often and just seeing the growth, and I'm not even talking about the automotive culture, I'm talking about just the island itself. Just seeing the growth has been really good, really phenomenal to see, because at first I was like, wow, they don't really take care of the roads, they don't do this and whatever. But then like looking at the highways now, looking how the bridges and how they're painting everything and how everything's well kept and maintained, it
The
just
roads
feels,
still
it's
have
just,
holes in them.
yeah, the roads still have holes. But I'm just saying,
Normal.
there's no winning in that.
Normal.
But I'm just saying overall, like it just PRs look, and like I'll be honest with you, like I feel like there's a lot more tourists coming in, and the islands look like it's doing really good. So,
And it's like,
and I might be wrong.
it's like you say, it's the experience, because this is the first event that Dominicans come,
Yeah,
and we get to interview the best of show. And he told me the story of coming here,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. He washed the car in the technically in the lobby of the hotel, man.
yeah,
Like it was crazy, and it's that it's like you said, it's a whole experience for everybody.
yeah. Everyone has a story.
Yeah, and it's great. It feels so good, like to have the Dominican people, to have them here, and saw that crazy truck that they bring. We knew like he told us the story of it, and that shit's crazy. And that shit's crazy. It's the experience. And it was good. It was great. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cabrón, en verdad, yo no sé hablar ningún carajo,
Nah,
en verdad. Yo.
He can speak. He understand. I mean, if he doesn't
He
understand,
had,
he'll
a whole,
ask.
he had a whole conversation with me outside. In
Yeah,
English.
yeah.
Don't let him play.
All right, all right.
I ain't game. No.
I was gonna ask you earlier about the first after movie, because I felt like since we already just talked about it, how special that first show was, because it was after the hurricane and all that. We were all
Right.
getting back up after the hurricane, but people still built all these cars for your show.
Right.
And like I felt like that after
That was
movie,
amazing to me.
that after movie was really special, because there were so many stories
Right,
about how the hurricane happened and how people built the cars.
right.
And some of these people were our really close friends, like Juan Carlos,
Juan Carlos.
the 240SX, who won Best Nissan this year.
Yep.
Like
Like how his house was demolished and the garage and some of the siding fell on the car and stuff like that. And, you know, and even in the after movie, like how he just really described and walked around and showed the passion of him and his father
Yep.
and what they went through and how they had to rebuild it and how they blogged the whole build. I thought that was awesome.
yeah,
And it's just great to see, you know, people just genuinely loving what they do no matter what happens. And, you know, to come to our events too, to say, hey, this is the story that we have. You know, like you said, you know, everyone has a story and experience coming to the event. That was his story and that was his experience, you know. And it's cool because he actually, I saw I think it was last night, he posted a photo of his son at like
At the
right
at the first show.
show.
10 years
And now
apart.
it shows now, and I thought that was awesome because the kid's probably tall as him now, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So that's cool, you know, like to see from the after movie to today, like how he has transitioned to not even just being an automotive enthusiast, but also as a father, you know.
I was really happy to see him because he's also one of the, since he went to the first show, so he's one of the OG Tuner Evo participants.
Right, he was one of the first cars we filmed.
He was a big part of the first show in general for the promo, for the after movie.
Yep.
So I'm really glad he got to come back and get an award because the first time
I had him up. I was like, yo, so you
That's actually really cool to see because if you've been to, you know, any of our other shows like Philly, the shows that we've had year after year after year, you notice that we have those cars that show up every year, whether they win or don't. You know, they might win one year, they might not, but it's cool to see some of those cars that even if they're not, you know, redone or anything new or whatever, they just keep coming every year. It's like it's a part of the show. If you don't see that car, somebody's asking like, hey, what happened to this person, or where's that car, or whatever, you know. So it's cool that even just with like going on the third year here, there's already people like that, you know. There's already brands and people that it's like a given, we're gonna come, we don't care what day it is, when it is, how we gotta get there, or whatever, because I know a lot of you guys have to make your way, you know, through, you know, a lot of like people that live on the west side of the island and all that, you know, it's a long drive and a lot of things that go into getting a car here and all that stuff, you know, especially like somebody bringing a car from Dominican Republic. That's not easy.
That's
you know,
not easy.
to make sure
He contacted.
That's why I mentioned that, because that's not that easy.
No.
And bringing a car like that one,
man, we ship a pallet of just like, you know, a tent, some boxes with some stuff that can be replaced, right? And we're scared about that getting lost, and we call and we're tracking it down. Yo, where's our package? We shipped
our pallet, you know, 3 weeks prior to the
got
show,
here the
day of Friday.
Yeah, we picked it up Friday morning, right?
We didn't know if we
so
were
it's
have
like
a tent
we're nervous about that. I would be in the bed of my truck in the container from DR here, just knowing, bro. But like the find my phone here and you tracking me, just, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if I could actually sleep until my car got to the port, you know. So that's a lot of commitment, effort. You know, I mean, yeah, you just shipped your car out here the last time I came out. Yeah, I got to shoot your car right after you shipped it out here. You know, that's commitment, man. You know, and you're keeping your car here. That dude just shipped it out for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like that's expensive, bro.
Yeah.
That's a big commitment. Like he won best of show, but I guarantee you that guy didn't build that car and set it out here just to try and win that trophy, because that does nothing for him. You know what I mean? Like,
he wanted to represent.
That's what it was. It was standing out here, being able to represent where he's from, because like I know Dominican's Finest does a really dope event out in Dominican Republic. I don't know really a lot of other events or whatever, but that's what it's about, is creating something we've created here, and you guys have helped us create that to where people are now
internationally
being like, hey, I need to go there and represent. You know, we had some people send some I think like 2 4-wheelers and a car from Orlando.
Oh no, it was you know those big vans that won, with the interior, with a white van, and I think it was like a beige van with a boceteo inside.
What, here in Puerto Rico?
In the show, they came from Orlando. There was 4 cars.
Oh yeah.
From Orlando.
Yeah.
This year?
This year.
Yeah.
This guy that he has a Toyota van. I've seen
the green one.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I saw it in Miami. I saw it in Charlotte.
Yep.
And now I saw it here.
Yep.
And that's what I mean. Those are
one from PA, right?
Yeah, there was a
car from PA.
That's like die hard, you know, car guys. Like they just do it because they want to go everywhere, you know. Like it's you know, I drag race and it costs me an arm and a leg to take my drag car anywhere, you know. So I know what it is to see these guys every month or week after week in places. I'm like, man, that's really a commitment to the community and the culture, you know. And because we have those type of people, that's what makes these events so dope and so special, because without the commitment from those people, there's nothing cool to see at these events. If we don't have even brands like yourself doing like a podcast live and all that, that's an attraction to a show. That's something that, you know, gave people things to do. I know a lot of people were talking about that they got interviewed. I saw you guys talk to like Halcyon, you know, you guys had Edgar, you know, all that. that's the type of commitment and stuff that we want to continue to work with, because it gives people more stuff to do. You know, it's not just a typical, buy something from me, buy something from
Yeah,
me,
it's,
or
it's
whatever.
not just a car show.
Right, you know what I mean? There's a lot.
lifestyle.
It's an automotive
Exactly.
lifestyle event, and like I said, there's a lot of working parts. There's a lot of people that are part of this, that work literally day and night with us, that make this happen. Because you can see that it takes a lot of work. Like, if we didn't have people that one of our guys, Cam, that dude don't sleep just for logistics and finances and everything, man. That sometimes I'm like, bro, leave me alone.
I've got a camp story at the rollout. We were
Bro, he yelled at you, I bet, right?
No.
Yo, he be yelling. Bro, yo, listen, man. Yo, Cam, and because he's a perfectionist. He's a perfectionist.
I know.
So I literally will walk in the line and I'm like, oh, you're a vendor? Pull around and come in. And I walk away as they're driving by, and he runs by me and he's like, whoa. I'm like, dude, let him go. You know what I mean? Like, but people like that really help make this. It's not always about like everybody that everybody sees all the time. There are a lot of people that, like, without them, like, this show wouldn't be as special and as big, and that's like I said, it's a big part of our people, and then you guys, because you guys give us the stuff to put in the building. We just give you the building. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. And then the spectators, they come in and they make it special for the vendors and everybody else with the content and the media people and all that stuff. Like, there's so many moving parts to it. It's not even funny, So, like I said, hats off to Puerto Rico and car guys across the country, because it's the same. But here is different, and I'm gonna keep saying. I said it 150 times today already, bro, and I'm gonna keep saying it. It's different. I literally challenge every other show that we have in every other place, and Philly's coming up, and Philly is really a great show. We love Philly. Everybody really comes and shows out, but like, I really want to see everybody really come together like Puerto Rico does, and bring that type of culture everywhere else. Like I said, we're gonna implement some stuff in other events that we did here, because we learned and whatnot, but I'd like to see like just a community kind of gel together the way that it is here on the island and whatnot.
I was gonna tell you the camp story. He didn't scream at me. we were doing the rollout, and I was getting the pickup truck to put all my stuff in it, and he comes running. He's like, he's because we wrapped everything in saran wrap, all the.
Oh, I know.
And then he goes, can you sell me a roll? Because someone stole you guys' rolls of saran wrap, and you guys had to surround your pallet. Yeah.
Well, he was gonna make me go the next morning
To Home Depot
and go get her thing, and I kept
And
saying,
then we had to come
man.
back.
Well, I was like, man, we're just gonna leave our
The
stuff.
nearest
like,
Home Depot. The
like-
nearest Home Depot is like 13 minutes.
Yeah, bro,
Like-
I know. And I was like, so then he comes, I don't know, I seen him walking through the garage door with a roll of thing, and I'm like, where
this.
the hell did he come with that? And he's like, man, I just bought this for $20. Was it a good buy? Do you think this was a good buy? I was like, hell yeah, bro. I was like, we don't have to go to Home Depot, come back tomorrow and do all that. I was like, let's just wrap this up right now. And that roll was so special to him, just so you know, that after we wrapped the whole thing, he made sure that we slid it in the top nice and safe, so we can use the rest of it the next time we ship something.
Look, Shaun, back in 2019. Look, same location.
Hey guys, how about making a show in the Dominican Republic?
Oh,
We're working on that.
I've been recently going to DR, just because I have family there. It's mainly Santo Domingo. I met up with the guys from Dominican Finest, and really nice guys. Edwin. They really opened the door. When I went out there, we met up at like a really nice high-end supermarket. Really nice.
In Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and it looked like it was from Japan almost, like, to be honest. And they brought out almost like 13 cars, like Skylines, Integras, and Silvias, and just to show me a couple cars. But they said it themselves. They're like, the problem with Dominican Republic is that
Thank you.
there isn't much of locations. There's like, I guess the biggest convention center. The biggest convention center that they have, you could only fit like about 120, 150 cars. But if you do an indoor-outdoor event there, then it can be like almost 350 plus. And for what they do over there, they're already doing exactly that in a drift course within their event. Claro, fuck it.
Yeah, they have the
If you do that in DR, then we're gonna get jelly.
they have the drift games over there in the
do indoor outdoor here.
Oh,
You got two sides.
we so going to the R if you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so the thing about it is that
We were
it's-
looking forward to
it's,
do
It's
that.
almost the same thing as Puerto Rico, the legalities. You know, because we're coming from the United States, I had to make sure that I have the proper permits or paperwork, or even promoter, to be able to do and host an event there. Because we're not technically from Dominican Republic.
It's harder.
It's harder.
We've been talking about a lot of different places outside of the U.S. Canada,
Toronto.
DR. Don't tell them the city. And we've been talking about that. The thing is like, just like somewhere like California, for example, having to go out there that many times, having to, look at a venue, being there to, granted, a lot of stuff can be done, via email and all that, but a big part of like what I do, like with Vegas, I had to go out to Vegas. Me and Cam went out to Vegas. I went out one time before, and then I went out again with Cam, but we had to go out there. And even though we had like a big lot that we rented from the venue to have it, it was just way too much space. It was like 400,000 square feet, and we don't have that many cars. So having to go out there,
That's like 1,000 cars.
measure the space, for what we think we're going to get, and, logistics from, flying staff, lodging, all that stuff, like, is all done as we plan. So we don't set ourselves up for failure. So when it comes to like international, it's a lot harder because we have to conform to their rules and regulations along with figuring out all the stuff on our end. And that's where the hardest part is, just like you said, with Puerto Rico itself, it's already, a little bit of a change with the promoter licenses and all that stuff. So it just takes a little bit more time. That's why it took, almost 2 years before the first Puerto Rico show started, where, we can be like, hey, we're going to go to, I don't even know, Kansas City next week, and the chances are we can put a show on in somewhere, another city that we haven't been to in the United States. Within 4 or 5 months worth of promotion, we can probably nail something off, if we pick the right places, because it's just a lot easier. Find a venue, figure out what their rules are, whatever, permits, all that stuff, and and it's done. And usually when a lot of places out there, like indoor venues, a lot of the stuff is already like done. You know what I mean? Like Vegas was way different because they just gave us a parking lot, bro. That's literally what they get. We had to get porta potties, fencing, generators, which they a homeless person stole our generator. Bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was just a
After the
headache
show.
for
Oh, wow.
all that stuff.
What
Like,
show is that? What show is that?
Vegas.
Las Vegas.
What's it called?
huh?
What's it called? The show?
Las Vegas.
Yo.
There you go. I like it. This guy. I see where you're at.
Good man. Salud.
But once we get, all of the information that we need, which he's been going to Dominican Republic here and there and talking to these guys and stuff. So as we gather more of that information and we put it down on the table, then as a team, we're able to be like, all right, it makes sense for us to go. We know people are going to show up. It's the matter of like,
Logistics.
bro, just to get like, we didn't even have our full we have a core staff of X amount of people that kind of go to every single event with us, and everybody has their job and whatever their role. And in Puerto Rico, we didn't even bring, we brought maybe 2/3, a little bit less than 2/3 of our core staff out because for some reason this year it was so expensive to even just fly people out places. You know what I mean? Like, and we have to factor that stuff in. A few years ago was, you can fly to Puerto Rico for like $200. You know what I mean? Now, because it's so popular now everybody's coming here, and I'm sure like tourism and stuff has grown here in the last few years, that airlines know that. So those are big factors into like getting international. Like, we can't just have a show in DR and not have any of our core staff involved because it's not Tuner Evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not actually that you guys see what we do there. So in order for it to be what we do there here, we still have to do it our way. And because that's what you guys want. If we do it your way, then it's the same as what you guys are doing, what other events and shows are doing here. You know, we have to learn, you know, there are certain things that we have to do differently and all that because the cultures are different. But even like California, I have to be nicer to car guys because they're soft. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you know, and I say that to all of them. I love you guys and you guys know that, but they're a little bit more of a softer crowd,
more laid back.
where Philly, literally, like I cracked a joke with this dude in California with his Tesla, and I asked him if he had a quarter tank of gas in it. It's funny, right? Yeah. And he looked at me and was like, "It's electric." And I followed up by da na 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 na. You know that song back in the day? It's electric, the electric slide. And he was not having. I was, "Man, go park your car." Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like in Philly, I get a laugh out of people. You know what I mean? Like the people are different. East Coast car guys are different than thing. And like here, you guys are way different. You know what I mean? Like
here we're very sarcastic.
some of you. No, see, some of you guys are sarcastic. This group is great. And then some of those guys are so serious. So serious,
we were
bro.
talking about that.
Yes,
we were talking
bro.
about that.
Mama Bicho Motorsports.
Mama Bicho.
Yo, but some of them are so serious
We
about
have
what
a
they
logo.
do.
We have a logo.
It's a logo. They make shirts and
We
shit.
want to.
Yeah, I got shirts there. Yeah, bro.
We want to.
I got them. I got you.
I want some.
But some of the guys are so serious with the way they build them and everything, which is great. You know what I mean? Because that's passion, you know. But man, some of them, I had one guy and I was like, man, you gotta unload your tow truck over here, and he's like, I'm by myself. I can't push my car, and it doesn't turn on. And I'm like, bro, I feel bad, but like, you really just need to push your car over there, like, you know, like. And he was so mad at me because he was like, that's how I found out that they tire shine the tires, because he's like, he had the plastic on it, and he was telling me I tire shine the tires. I'm like, bro. Not to be rude, but I don't care. You know, not that I don't care, but first of all, I've never seen anybody before Puerto Rico tire shine the tread of the tire. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. It was done all over the weekend. The tread of the tire, which is great because that's how they show. Like that's actually very admirable because like they take that time, and tire shine's not cheap, so they just put that much. I gave away 100 cans of tire shine.
Sean was pushing a Banshee, and it was wrapped in saran wrap.
Bro, yeah. Yo, actually, that tire hit my leg, and I had tire shine all the way up my leg. I had the stones, the gravel. I had to go clean my leg, bro, and it wouldn't come off. Like I was like wiping it. I still have scratches on my leg from trying to get it off. But I never seen that, and I know that that does suck, bro, that you have to unload your tow truck and you have to push it down the street and there's tire shine, because it's definitely going to be a lot harder to clean that shit when you get inside. I'm sorry, but they're just mad. You know, they were just mad. So, there was no sarcasm there. Trust me, bro.
No,
like,
shout out to the Hilux. I think they put tire shine on the hot side of the turbo.
Did I ask you?
Yeah,
I asked you. I said, yo, why is I went like this. Oh, it's tire shine.
Yo, actually, you know, funny story, right?
I asked him.
So, funny story. I drag race back home, right? So, one of our good friends and stuff, him and his father, they have a beautiful Integra, and his father's very, very, very like Puerto Rican, right? And his race car, they got a beautiful.
And just so everyone know that Shaun's Portuguese, so it's different culture.
It's different, right? So they have a beautiful sport front wheel drive Integra, and it's built just like the race cars out here. It's beautiful, clean inside and out. So we were at an event, and I'm looking over, and yo, he was wiping my car down, and my car is plastic dip. So the plastic dip was wiping off the quarter panel. And I'm like, bro, it's not paint. And then I looked and I had tire shine on my slicks. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, it's a race car. I don't need that stuff, you know? So, like, I was like, man, these guys are crazy. You know, like, that's dangerous. I told him, I was like, yo, your car runs 8s. And if you don't tire shine your car, you might run 7s. You know what I mean?
Really?
You might actually go faster without the extra slippery stuff.
I don't know. You guys saw the bikes?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Lo mismo.
Tire shine. All over.
There's a funny story.
Bro,
about
that's a
tire shine.
bike.
It's a Puerto
You
Rico,
guys,
huh?
you guys went to the PR Racing Expo.
Correct.
So, did you see tire shine at that show?
That's not the same thing.
No, it's actually prohibited by the convention center.
Yeah, they didn't
Bro.
tell us that rule this year.
Yo, bro, you know what? Actually, it's funny that you say that because I was walking in through the roll-in on the far side, and I was like, wow, this is actually really slippery here. And it was tire shine, man.
that's the
It
reason,
literally,
yeah.
it's crazy. That's really, that's actually one of the most interesting things that I've realized this weekend, that you guys are the reason why tire shine companies survive.
We have our own, bro. We have our own.
Like, you guys must literally own, like, shares in whatever tire shine
Multiple
is made from.
local brands. Multiple.
No, forget that. You guys support them across the world. Like, you guys literally,
In Chicago, you see all the old school Corollas that show up. Same thing.
bro. Oh my god.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's.
They probably shipped the product from Puerto Rico, made in Puerto Rico.
But I've always said
Our
like
smell just
the
like-
cleanest cars I've ever seen are here. Even like, you know, you have levels of builds. You know what I mean? Some people just throw wheels on it and it is what it is. You know, and then some people are full out. Puerto Rico is one of the only events. I've shot cars everywhere around the country. I was in California and I actually looked at him. I was like, yo, bro, they didn't even clean the cars. I was
Hey,
like,
call me.
I was like, yo, bro, the cars are dirty. Like, I'm mad because it's such a beautiful. I'm talking about beautiful cars. I'm like, they're dirty. Like, they don't love their cars the way that you guys do. Where like, if it rains, you go outside, you dry it off, and it don't matter if it's, you know, a stock car or a fully built car. You guys take care of. And I've seen this even growing up because I always remember like hanging out the car wash and just watching these guys like clean their cars like thoroughly.
all the
You know what I
drift,
mean?
all the drift cars in our
but
booth were
shut-
detailed.
Shout out to
Oh.
all the people that do detailing.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
sure.
shout out.
100%.
Like
100%.
in for Tuner Evo,
Yeah.
they bring their trucks and all the stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they're
man.
cleaning. Okay,
Yeah.
they're already clean, and they are cleaning it
Yeah.
in the.
In the
Bro,
show.
it's crazy.
In the show,
It's,
yeah.
it's wild.
That's why a lot of people busy at the show.
But that all comes back to like the commitment for the culture. Like, that's something that people are always going to talk about. You know, it's a sarcastic joke actually. You know, Puerto Ricans keep their cars clean. You know, and but it's a true fact. It's a statement. I mean, your drift car is beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's so simple, and it's just you drive it like it's dope. Your car is rough. You know what I mean? But I still love it because, like I was saying, I was telling him, like, you know, you drove the thing to Aguadilla, you drifted like a madman, and then drove the thing back. You know what I mean? Like the local's the one that blew his tire out. So yeah, that's huge. The commitment, you know, down to, you know, the tire shine is amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna probably put tire shine on our shoes or something. Yeah.
I was gonna ask you because you told me in the pre-meet, shout out to Cars and Brews and you hosted with the pre-meet with Cars and Brews in Escobar there in La Kennedy. You talked to me there for the first time about the panel you wanted to do. Is that something you've done in the shows before?
Yeah, I did it one time in California. It's something that, you know, I still want to master, as far as like making it better and doing it better.
Yeah.
But we started in California. We did it with I believe it was Frank Garcia from Downstar. We had the Big Mike. We had we was gonna have RJ De Vera, but then that was the same time that the show was canceled. So it's been a learning curve, because at the same time, the reason why I wanted to do it is because it's almost like the Q&A that we do when it comes to the cars. You know, you give the spotlight to the car owner, and we can have a conversation about the vehicle, what it's done, what it's about, stuff like that. And the crowd gets involved and participates in questions and asking, and it's just more interactive with the community. One of the things that I've learned in Puerto Rico as of more recent, like I'm starting to learn the people in the island that take more of an initiative to continue to bring the culture larger, like yourself and everyone in here. You know, everyone wants to make their brands better, but at the same time make the island's culture better. So I started recognizing a lot of people within the community. I mean, I can't grab 15 people on the stage, you know? So it was just like real, you know, not real quick, but it was more like the last week or two I had it in my mind. I'm like, man, I want to highlight some people of the show. How can I do that? So I sat down and thought about it. I was like, all right, so we have Pedro with Island Drift that takes care of motorsport, drifting, clothing. You know, I'll talk to Edgar, you know, that's more of a JDM, Favorite Motorsports, clothing brand. You have Gab from Cars and Brews, which is mainly clothing brand, but then also their media, just like you guys, media. And then even Dorf, you know, seeing Christian, you know, and to be honest with you, besides Christian and maybe Gundul are the only real people, maybe I'm incorrect, that I've seen videography come out of Puerto Rico. Maybe there's more. I'd like to know.
There's a
lot. I'm sure
couple.
there's more.
They're just I feel like they're the two that have been mostly involved in Tuner Evolution as a brand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and just seeing how both of them, even Christian, you know, when I met Christian, he never even picked up a camera.
No. Back when you met Christian, he did the thing with Island Works.
Island Works, and he had his Volkswagen.
He had a Volkswagen,
and that's all I knew. And then next thing you know, he picked up a camera because he was inspired by Halcyon.
Gandul sold him one of his bodies.
Yeah,
and that's when he started filming.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. He was telling me that. Yeah. So I mean, and Christian was telling me that, you know, he's inspired by Halcyon and just seeing how he transitioned. I'm sorry.
The guy's a freaking machine.
It's a machine, man.
You should have seen him in Aguadilla.
Right in the middle of
in a skateboard between the cars.
Oh yeah, he's everywhere.
He was in the you. I think you went there once to a Fast or Nothing event.
Yeah,
the half mile
it was
event.
awesome.
We did a drifting exhibition, and the last half mile event. Shout out to Frigel. And Dwarf was there skateboarding around all day. No sunscreen. I'm like, Dwarf, I got sunscreen.
Yeah, that dude's crazy.
Ya no me voy a poner nada, olvídate.
With a big sombrero hat.
That guy is an alien, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like you
100%.
gotta see,
It's crazy,
bro. You gotta see that guy running around the track when drift events comes. You gotta see that guy on the sun.
He came to the last one. He came to the last one. Oh, pero Dwarf no estaba, ¿verdad?
No, pa el drifter.
sí, sí.
No, no.
When the event ended, he looked like the thing you're drinking.
Oh, bro, yeah,
Yeah, he
definitely.
he looked like a shrimp.
He definitely, but he did his thing, man. I met Christian the last time I came out here, and he definitely did his thing. He's learned a lot since he picked up his camera. He told me about him, and the panel that we did in Puerto Rico was a lot different than like what we did in California, because the one in California was based on like influencers, people that just have a name in the industry, not necessarily doing a lot for us or whatever.
Yeah.
So what we did here in Puerto Rico was everybody that we showcase up there, people that have been supporting us since we kind of came out here. You know, Christian's been supporting us. You know, last time I came out, he lined up a bunch of cars for me, made, you know, all I had to do was show up with my camera and shoot. That's it. You know, he found the locations. He actually even picked me up and brought me to some of the shoots. And I actually didn't have a gimbal out here, so he let me use his gimbal so I could shoot and everything. And he shot with me, but he kind of just stayed out of my way, to be honest with you. And I don't know why I wanted him to shoot more with me, but it was more of like a respect thing. Like, I came out here and he wasn't trying to get out of my, and I realized that afterwards. And then after that, I started talking to him more, and I'm like, yo, like, I want to see you take charge more. I want to see you, you know, be more like confident, just do this stuff. Like, the way I look at it is, as a media person, like, I have that attitude where, like, you want content, everybody needs to get out of my way. I'm not in anybody's way because I'm the one that's supposed to be here. When I shot with Anthony the other night, you know, I knew that his shots were more important.
Yes.
I'm doing behind the scenes. So I'm beside him, I'm around him, I'm out of his way, and we're communicating, and that's how things should be. But there are times that I need to get this with him, and I need a good shot of him, so I'm going to get in his way. You know what I mean? But we understand that because Anthony's the same way. Dwarf Media has definitely the quality work that can, you know, go a lot further than here just on the island, you know. But so I definitely am gonna work to make sure that I push him a lot harder, and I'm gonna make sure that I push him out of his comfort zone, to be better. You know what I mean? Than what he already is, because the kid's got a lot of talent, and he's got a great eye, and he's fast, man. That dude was killing it at the show. Him and the two other kids that he had.
Soul Sign,
So science
Chris.
and CLM. Yeah.
CLM.
Yeah, the other two kids, they've been killing it with getting us like some media stuff, done leading up to the event. But like the way that they were killing it at the event, live editing, getting reels out during the day and all that stuff, like as we needed it.
They
Like
worked as a team.
that's a dope, thing to get. So everybody that we, I mean, last time we came here, you came out and got cars and we shot and whatnot. Edgar, same thing, along with everything else that he does. Cars and Brews are always down to do pre-meets for us and just hang out, or these guys have helped us like store stuff.
Yeah, we
while
stored
we're
our
not here,
equipment at their spot.
So there's a huge reason why you guys were all highlighted, is because you really have been like our core support outside of like a lot of obviously vendors and everyone else that supports us. It's not
Correct.
just you guys, but
That's
to
what came to mind.
help us getting like our feet in the door and keeping it. You guys have been like, you guys are big outlets here. You know what I mean? And what helps us is being involved with big outlets. We can come here and be Tuner Evolution, but at the end of the day, you guys are here every day. People know you guys. Like I when I shoot your car and you post anything of mine, I get such a burst in followers, and same thing with you. And it's crazy. I was telling him, I was like, I've never had such a big burst of followers on my social media like this weekend. It's crazy. I can't even keep up with like the messages and the and it's just little messages, like little emojis and stuff, but I like to like interact with everybody, and I just haven't had time to sit down and do it. And I don't get that anywhere, bro. Like I've spent, like I said, a month in California. I've been to Vegas for a few weeks. And I work with the same amount of people everywhere I go. Here is nuts. One picture and it's just like bang, it's like fire, so it that's what we need to do. We need to give back and show appreciation to everybody that has a part of this, because without it, we can't continue to grow. You know what I mean? We lose the love and support from you guys, nobody's gonna mess with us. You know what I'm saying? There's no that just doesn't make sense. It's not logical. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big part of why.
Yeah, same here with you guys. Yeah.
And that's what I mean. The way we respect you is the way
Appreciate
you guys
that.
respect us. And if we keep that line of respect with each other, we're all keep growing, because you guys are going to have our back whenever we come here. And we just had a conversation where like I dead on trying to have you come out way and drift. You know what I mean? Like that's a goal of mine. I want to see you drifting out there, and that would be dope. If we all keep that line of respect and keep working towards that, we're all going to grow bigger and better together. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna ask you guys because all my drift boys at the show, they were asking about it, and they were asking why there's not a drift category. Like,
I mean,
That-
usually when we judge, it's basically on vehicle makes.
okay,
So basically your vehicle class is what that's set for. Sometimes when, in the past couple years, since we've done Puerto Rico, I think it's only been like a few cars, like not really much. I'm not sure. But at the same time, drifting in Puerto Rico has become a little bit more popular.
It's
Correct me if I'm wrong.
it's the first time we have a drifting lineup in a Tuner Evolution in Puerto
right.
Rico.
Well,
the
that's
first
just
time.
like
Right.
the,
So I mean,
it's the first time.
that's just kind of like the same thing where like we don't have a front wheel drive
Yeah, we don't have that.
race class,
don't
or
have
front rear wheel drive race class. We have back home in a lot of the events we have like a performance theme
Yeah.
type of thing,
Right.
which
That's why I
where
heard that the naked one.
the which one?
The car's name is the naked.
The FRS,
That's the car that
Fiebrus.
won that
Fiebrus.
Oh, okay.
the performance theme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in Puerto Rico, we add,
Yeah.
but in we add front wheel drive and rear wheel drive because you guys bring out race cars.
Drag
The
car,
same
yeah.
thing,
Front wheel
like,
driving with a drag car.
I was telling you out there, like we don't get even a fraction of that many motorcycles
Right.
and banshees and stuff. So we're still learning here in Puerto Rico
Correct.
how, and we're still, and not so much confused, but we're still trying to figure out how to make the classes the best, because you guys just had like, I don't get one Mitsubishi Mirage in any of my shows across the country. 10 events
Or Samurai.
and not one.
Or a
No,
Samurai.
Samurai.
Chicago.
Chicago,
Yeah,
down Florida,
Maybe Florida.
because there are like
Right.
the Hispanic communities. You get those OGs that come
Yep.
out. You know what I mean? But Not one Mitsubishi Mirage. Listen, man, I've been telling them I want to send one home and I want to put a K series in it. I want to build one. You know what I mean? Because like they're so dope. They remind me of an EG. When I see one driving down the road, I'm like, oh, look at that Mirage. You know? Oh, actually, yo, last week when we were driving, we were here a week before, and I saw one really nice, like light mint green. And car was really nice all the way around, but it has stock wheels on it, right? And it was cambered like this, and he's driving down the highway.
Oh, that one.
And I was like,
I have a
bro,
video
this
of
dude
it.
is reckless,
I have a video
right?
of it.
I'm like, who is this dude? And then I kept saying, like in the car, I'm like, he's got to have wheels. No, don't even put it out. 'Cause I was talking shit. So listen, I was talking shit. I was like, yo,
video.
I was like, he's got to have wheels, bro. I was like, he can't be
Like
rocking
this,
that
yo.
car like that. And I was standing at the rolling door, and sure enough, yo, he pulls up to the door with wheels on it with CCWs. CCWs, right?
Same
I walk
guy,
up
same
to
guy.
same car, everything.
way.
And I walk up to
I
him.
know
I was
that.
like, yo, I was talking mad shit about your car. 3 days ago, you were rocking around all the holes and stuff. I was like, and I knew you had wheels at home, man. And he was dying. He was a sarcastic one. See, I could crack a joke. He wasn't mad.
So that's his daily. He uses other wheels and then
That was cool to see, you know what I mean? I saw this dude literally hitting pothole, and yo, when I tell you this dude was cambered out, it was like a 13 by like 4-inch wheel, bro, like this.
Yeah.
And
So
he's
I'm back
just-
to the feature shit.
Bro, and he's just like, just with Recaros in it and everything. And it was when I saw the seats, I was like, he's got to have wheels. If he's got those Recaros in that car, there's definitely wheels somewhere. And sure enough, bro, he pulled up, and I was like, actually, Trent was like, yo, Shaun, look. And I was like, look at what? And I was like, no. I was like, that is funny. And
This Trench was with us. That's right.
yeah, and we were, we weren't even like that close to San Juan when
We
when
were like past the airport, a little bit past
yeah,
the
so
airport.
that was actually pretty cool to see the dude was rocking around like that, and it was like he was naked, yeah, like he didn't have his shit together. I wouldn't drive around with those wheels like that either, to be honest with you. Hell no.
I wish I could have gotten Trench in the podcast in the
Oh,
Tuner.
man. You
Tell-
gotta-
tell
you
me
gotta- you
Yo,
gotta-
shout out to Trench. So
Yeah.
everybody knows Trench has been with us since like 2015.
that's what I was gonna ask you guys. How
He's-
did Trench become part of the team?
So, yo, I learned a lot about Trench over the years. Me and Trench have become really good friends, and that dude is one of the wildest people I've ever met in my life. But he is one of the most loving
Loving,
individuals, bro.
nicey.
He is so vulgar that if you're not, if you're not sarcastic, you really can't be around him, man. Like if you're soft at heart, he's not the person to have like.
I'm
Just
already
like,
loving that dude.
yo, man, I'm telling you, but
Best laugh in the world too.
but like oh man, but he will literally rock with you till the wheels come off. He just, and he's amazing at what he does. It's because he hates car shows. So
Yeah.
he loves cars. He loves the car culture. He's got
Doesn't
a
like car shows.
he's got a supercharged S2000
S2000
back home with a beautiful livery.
Sick as to the
He's got a Type R that he drives,
Yep.
daily. He's very involved in like the
Motorsport.
grassroots and like motorsport stuff. That's what he really loves. But he loves Tuner Evolution as a family. We're a family to him. So he comes and he shows up every time. He's just got a passion for photography. So if you pay attention to his photos, it's never really about the car. The car is always a background thing for him. His photos are always about
The photo.
the interactions, everything else that's going on. Like Trench spends 0 time shooting the show with the doors closed, where a lot of people try to get all their content before spectators come in. He's waiting for those interactions. Like we could be talking and he will see a family walking by and he takes the time to shoot the family and get all those. Trench gets some of the most amazing pictures of me ever, and it's because he's just alert to moments, whether
Right.
it's
He pays attention.
It's funny because I don't even know until I see the pictures and I'm like, shit, but it's always like really dope moments, pulling in like a very special car that means something to us, things like that. So he's very alert when it comes to like all that stuff, and that's what makes him a beast, behind the camera.
airdrop me that. Airdrop me.
But yeah, that's what really makes him like a beast behind the camera. He's been with us since 2005. I mean 2015. I want to say he's probably shot almost every
every
event. He's
single
been to
TE.
almost every TE since then, minus a handful that he couldn't go because of work or whatever. Because he does work full time, a regular job and stuff. He works full time, regular job, and he has another side job like doing like media stuff or whatever. So this is just like a hobby for him when he comes out to Tuner Evolution. It's not something that he necessarily needs. Like I said, it's something that he wants, and that's why we have him around. Because at this point, I personally only want people that want to be around us. I don't want people that need to be around us. Same thing with you guys. Like I said, we want people that want to be there, not that they need to be there. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, shout out to Trenchy. I met him around the same 2015. I remember he came to the very first TE Philly in 2013. I believe he was shooting, but I didn't really know much of him through other friends. And in 2015, he started working with us, and we got to learn a lot about each other. And basically, as the years went by, we became really good friends. And he's just a fun guy to be around. So anytime that I came to Puerto Rico and some other places, he was always like my go-to guy that I wanted to come with me, because it sometimes coming to these trips you're by yourself and it just sucks. You're just alone. You kind of want to have a friend to ride with you and stuff like that. And he's like my main go-to guy, even Shaun as well, that I like to have around me because they're just fun to be with, and it's like it's like a family. He was saying, but yeah, Trenchy's been really good to us, and continuously like to continue working with him because of his passion of photography as well.
Yeah, I met him at the first event when I was filming with Zwing, and he was shooting the while Zwing was filming, and then he followed me, I followed him, and then like a couple of years later, I went to a drift event in New Jersey, and he was there. I was walking in with my family. He's like, Pedro.
Yeah, it's funny.
What's up, buddy?
He drove out to a race event, and that I was competing at, and it took him a little bit longer, and I ended up already blowing my car up, my second hit. So I was mad. I packed up and left, forgetting that he was driving out there. So I lived for 4 or 5 hours from where we were. So I was already on my way home. He calls me. He's like, "Yo, where you at?" It's like, "Oh man, I'm halfway home, bro." It's like, good thing he had other people there because he's from like that area. But yeah, he's like that, man. He'll just pop up.
Yeah, man, that's one of those people that it's just great to know him, because you find them in any event, and it's just
one more TE show and he's gonna be full Puerto Rican.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He was rocking the jersey at the end of the show the whole day.
Cabrón, puñeta.
He said all that. He knows all that. That was his first words.
He literally turned quarter Puerto Rican every time he comes here. So the one more show, he's gonna be full. You know what I mean? He's one of the reasons why Mama Micho Motorsports is one.
Yeah,
Yo, and I'll give him that, man, because and I'll be honest as well. I dabbled in the Spanish, many years, but only spoke it with my mom. Didn't really practice it that much, and just knowing some people around my area, I was say some words, but didn't really like full conversations. So coming to Puerto Rico a lot, that helped me a lot to really understand how to speak Spanish fluently and have and hell a conversation. But when we started coming out here, Trenchy only know the bad words, man.
Of course.
All the bad words.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
But then what's cool is that, as we're driving, as we're going places, he's like, "So how do you say this and how do you say that?" He just always asking. But then he always made it to a note that, if we're going to this gas station or this food spot, that he ordered the food, that he asked for what he needed, and he challenged himself the whole way. And right now, I'll tell you right now, you can probably speak some Spanish to him, and he'll even understand. And if he doesn't understand, he's like, "All right, so what he say?"
Yeah.
And then he'll gravitate to understand, and then next time you'll know that he'll use that.
Right.
So right now it's pretty cool to see someone that never spoke a lick of Spanish that now is just like conversating and having a good time with the culture all the way around because of him trying to learn how to speak.
That's honestly one of the honestly, now that he's saying that, I was just thinking, like, that's one of the best parts, honestly, like, aside from having a big show and doing all that stuff, like, being able to get people that we care about, we travel with, and be able to, like our first time in California, we took the whole staff out, and made sure we had a few extra days, and we got a big house, bigger than we typically do, but that was because almost all the staff, minus a couple of us, had never been to California. So we were able to just have a good time, and we went to like Santa Monica Pier, we went out to Malibu, Venice Beach, we went everywhere with the staff, and it's cool. It's literally like, family vacations, and now, like, I mean, it was Father's Day. I got to have my son out here. He's never been to Puerto Rico. So he's out here. We got to enjoy that. He's working the show. Cam and Jess get to bring their kids out. It's really become like a real family like thing, Trench. And it's crazy because like everybody that you see, like, I'm working and I have my 16-year-old out with Trench and the models, Michelle and Alyssa and all them, you know what I mean? Like, these are people that don't need to, hang out and take care of my son while I'm working, you know what I mean? But we're so close that I don't even think about it because I'm so comfortable with it till later. And I'm like, damn, where the hell's my son been all day? I asked him, I was like, yo, how did you eat? You know what I mean? But everybody, that you don't worry about it, man. It's like being at home and having, a family taking care of family, so that's a huge part of, why I personally keep doing what it is because the experiences, being able to, make, things better and have people, experience things that they don't typically get to see or whatever. Like, bro, nobody sees cars like this around my way. This kid's been at 16. He's got to see more things and more cars and stuff that I was 25, 26, 27 years old by the time I got my feet involved in this outside of like drag racing and all that. He's 16, he's already has a shell and he's always sending me parts, and then he's looking at this and
He already had a car.
yeah, bro, he's already got at least a shell that he's already like messing with, but that's huge, and I think that's really important when it comes to like what we do and the reasons why like we do it. It's so much deeper than just like a building full of cars, and I think that's huge because some people don't really understand that. Some people look at you and be like, why do you care about your car so much? You know what I mean? Not everybody gets out their car and looks at it the same way. Some people, a car is a car. Like, I know people that drag their car across a wall and just be like, yeah,
it's
whatever.
An expression.
Right. So those are a lot of the reasons, with like talking about Trench and how we all have a good time or whatever. Like, I think the memories are actually the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Yeah.
Me and Trench actually had a long talk this weekend about the memories. Like, we were literally going through all the years of like going through cmae. We got stuck in an elevator in Vegas. 20 minutes, bro.
I was sleeping.
For 20 minutes, bro. One dude was in the corner. Bro, he's in the corner and he's like, there's one dude's like, oh my God, I have a family at home. And I'm like, bro, we're not gonna die. Me and Trench were drunk. We were drunk, bro. And then we had two of the girls in bikinis, another one, and everybody's panicking. And me and him are just like, damn, we wish that we still had more alcohol. And we're like, yo, we're just going to open the door. And they're like, no, don't touch the door. 20 minutes later, security literally just opened the door. They just literally opened the door and we had to climb out. I was like, bro, I could have been out of here. This one's sleeping in the hotel room, so he didn't even know what was going on. We walked in, we're like, hey, we've been trapped for 20 minutes and calling you. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. Wait till you get stuck in the elevator, bro. but those are the things, bro, that we'll laugh for
it's like
years.
2 a.m.
You know what I mean? Like,
stories, man.
Yeah, man, because I mean, it's a lot of the outside the car show that we get the stories from, because while we're there, we're all working. We get to enjoy the show, but we all have we cross each other's paths. You know what I mean? Smack each other in the butt and keep it moving. You know what I mean? It's the knowing that we're getting home at 11 p.m. and we have to be at the event at 5 a.m. and nobody gives a shit because we're gonna stay up till 3:34. And then just get dressed and go. You know what I mean? We'll sleep when we get home.
Yeah,
and
nobody knows that.
Like, I dropped Trench off at 2:30 in the morning to the airport, and he's like, bro, I gotta work a 12-hour shift when I land. But that's the dedication that we have from these people. And it's not financially motivated because this is a passion driven like industry. You know what
Completely.
I mean? Like there's not, you know what I mean? Like realistically, like this is not something that pays, you know, a ton of money for people that come out and for media outlets and all that stuff. Like it's not possible, you know? So it really comes down to being passion driven and people that want to create those memories with you and make the show great. If you don't have those people, it ain't gonna. It's not always about giving people a lot of money to make things happen. It's about having people that care about you and the brand and the success and the culture, you know, because the more they care about everything as a whole, you know, like you care about me, but if you don't care about the culture, it might not work. You know what I'm saying? You might care about the culture and not care about, you know, me or the brand or something. It might not work. We need people that really as a whole just have that love and respect. And that's what I try to do it with this one, you know, creating an enthusiast. You know, not a car guy that just cares about drifting or drag racing or this, that, or the other thing. You know, people that appreciate everything across the board. You know, when you look at a stock Porsche that's a, you know, old school, you know that's a purist car, you know.
Yep.
But you still appreciate the one that they tore apart and put a wide body kit and all that stuff on, you know. Like, and I know your car, I love your car, bro, and you already know what kind of car guy I am, because as soon as I saw your car I was like,
yeah,
this is it. You know what I mean? I was like, this is it.
Learn to appreciate all scenes. you
Right.
know.
And I appreciate all the little things, like that panel you have in your back seat that you built in your back seat, bro. That's something that should be in production. You know what I mean? Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Wait, is
there's
it
no-
V3?
Maybe.
V3?
Yeah, right? Because he said that was the
It had-
second
it has
version.
versions.
Right, that's what you're telling
He
me.
sold
that you
the
did.
first version.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Edgar. Edgar's cars, I love everything from even the small little decals that he puts on his cars. You know what I mean? Like, I always think, like his Porsche, right? Those little, like, they're like silhouettes.
His brand-
you know they're pit stop
his
logos,
branding-
but there's no branding.
his
on
branding
it.
is-
it's wild. Like, I
crazy.
think when did you think about putting a shadow on your car? You know, and it works, man. Like, it just looks good. You know, and that's what I love. That's what the most important thing.
That's awesome, man. And I always tell Jay, like Tuner Evoluton has changed things in Puerto Rico for a lot of people, and for me especially, because now this week, like a Tuner Evo week for me has turned into just Tuner Evo. Like, I'm like this is we're here in the t-shirt printer. This is my family shop,
Right.
and I tell my dad, I'm like, I'm gonna work until Wednesday, because I know there's gonna be shoots on Thursday. There's gonna be stuff on Friday.
Right.
If something's going on at like 10 o'clock at night, I want to be ready.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I'm just
Never
like,
know.
I'm not gonna work.
Right.
And you
two
never
has
know
this-
with Anthony either. Anthony's like, oh yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning, I need 3 cars, this spot.
Yep.
Yeah,
Be
pull it
there.
in the-
I'm
there.
always after that one shoot I did with the Tuner Evo in the first one. I'm ready. I always have my car ready, because I just love being part of it. I love the filming process, because I like filming myself.
Cause you blew
So-
your motor, right? Last
I blew my motor.
I
last
thought
time,
you
so-
hurt your motor the other night too. The way you got out the car and
When?
you walked around and you grabbed your head, I was like, nah, man.
What?
And then
When?
you were like, oh, it's just too hot. You were just hot. You literally
No,
looked
no.
at me. You were like,
I was tired. I was out of breath.
bro,
because
I thought he hurt the car. I was
no,
like,
no.
no.
No, it was too hot. It was too hot. I was out of tire too. Half of the video is
Bro, that tire
sparks.
was bad.
I saw that.
Half of the video is
No,
sparks.
you didn't see the tire, bro. He looked at
no?
Anthony. He was like, that was very irresponsible. for you to get in the car with my tire like that.
I took Anthony. He was like, "Okay, I'm done filming. One last thing. Take me for a
Do
ride."
we have any helmets here? It's Puerto Rico, baby. Hell no.
I took Anthony for a ride, and then we looked at that tire, and I was like,
That tire was bad. Well, you knew it was sparking the whole time.
I knew it was
Then
sparking. Yeah,
He was been telling you. It was
I know.
sparking.
I know. I already know like how to make my tires last and how they feel. You know, so I'm
You're,
pretty used
You're
to
an
it.
amazing driver.
Thank
I
you.
trust you with my life, inside
you,
and
thank you.
outside the car. Drift around the rental, whatever you want to do, bro. Yo, Anthony was
He
like,
still
Anthony's
scares
like,
the
no.
shit out of me.
Oh, nah, bro. Anthony's like,
Like-
he's like, nah, man, you can't drift around the rental. And as soon as like he walked away, I was like, man, we can't let these guys down. He's like, yeah, you right. Puts it in reverse. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm down for anything.
And how's he? Ponle. I'm literally pushing on it.
Yo,
Like-
he had the gas. He was trying to do a burnout, and he had the gas all the way down, and the electric, because he got the electric e-brake,
Yeah.
and it was like a one step, like it was at the 1,000 RPMs going. I'm like, yo, step on the gas. He's like, I have it to the floor. I was like, bro, but I literally was hoping that I didn't have to explain to Cam why I had red paint all over the side of the car. Yeah, so what happened with the rental was
What?
we were on the no, nothing happened to the rental. But if that's why Anthony was like, no, I don't want you to drift around the rental, because I was like, man, imagine me having to explain to Cam, we finished the drift video and then we decided it would be a good idea for Pedro to drift around it. So now there's red paint on the car, but it went well,
Yeah,
I have to send you a video because I have Anthony Mangian down the street in the rental and you behind us.
Yeah.
Good times.
It was good. It was good. Yeah, good times. Good times with Tuner Evo. Good times with you guys. Just one last theme I wanted to ask you guys, because this is a drifting podcast at heart. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought of the drifting event last time.
Oh man, so when we first met, I think one of the things that we talked about was like sharing some light to some of the things in PR,
Yeah.
and I think that like example, like the VIP scene, it's small here, but I've always said like, man, that's something that I would love to see that grow. And when I first started coming here, I felt like drifting here in Puerto Rico was just only solely on the ground, and I'm sure you probably will say that it mainly was correct. It was mainly on the ground.
Okay,
but when you guys came, it was
already a thing when you guys came in.
Yeah.
But drifting in Puerto Rico, it totally came out from the streets.
Yeah.
Of course, it came out of other places. But here in Puerto Rico, it came out of streets.
Right.
Then we came out with the Prada thing.
We had a couple of organizations.
Uh-huh.
Drift Association was the first
So-
try to make something like professionally.
So
Right.
Drift Yard, your event.
Drift is our event. It's the guys from the west. It's Danny.
Danny.
It's James.
D-boy, right?
It's D-boy.
D-boy.
It's Jerry, Gandul, Ricky, a couple of other guys. So
I was talking to Gandul the other day about Drift Yard, and he was telling me how it was like a group effort or whatever. But one, you guys are crazy because
There's no barricades.
there's no
man.
barriers. Like it's a rope.
It's a rope.
Which you guys should just not even have the rope because it's not gonna help nobody. Literally, I'm trusting. That rope ain't stopping nobody.
Someone's gonna die.
But besides it being 150 degrees out there the other day,
It was awesome.
it was dope. It was really grassroots. I can see like it growing for you guys as you and Gandul was telling me actually that I think that was the first time you guys like went into the like late at night or something like that.
Day into night.
we did a day/night
Right.
event. Yeah.
But I definitely think like it's hard too because I think it rained before, so there's like mud and all that stuff. So I mean I know that kind of throws it off for people, but I think that was super dope. I mean besides the heat,
Yeah.
because you're obviously right there on like a pad type of thing.
And
but like,
this is the first time that there's a lot of people coming to drift events.
yeah, there was a good amount of people like in and out all day long.
And we had less than usual because of the rain, because it rained right before you guys came.
Literally
Yeah.
on the way there it was pouring.
We did the numbers. We had like 300 something spectators. Last event we had almost 600.
Nice.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I like also the aesthetic, and it reminds me a little bit of like if you really think about it, right? Like where you guys have the cars take off in that pit area.
Yeah.
And if you stand literally right in the middle of the drift course and look up, all you see is the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So as a photography aspect, while you guys are drifting, that background sets you guys off. And like having all the dory flags and the tents, like even though like that's just simple stuff, but like it just adds to the event.
Yeah, that was
You know
all.
what I mean?
That was all with the purpose. The guys wanted to have that branding in it. So
And one thing I noticed that every single flag had everyone's involvement. Correct?
yes,
Like I saw Dorf had a flag there.
those are the sponsor flags and the
Sponsors.
people
I
who
thought that
support
was cool.
who support the event. Yeah.
I also like how it's like I said, grassroots. Like I was talking to Gandul when I was in the media pit there. That I mean, you had guys coming out that looked like it was their first time ever sliding a car. You know what I mean? And then you had guys that came out and were killing it. You know, you had some cars that don't even look like a drift car, and then you had cars that were like done the right way. It was a great mixture, but it was cool because like it's like an unjudged place. Like
Yeah, it's
this is what I
really
love,
practice.
and this is what I'm saying is that if I ever got in a drift car, right, there are some places back home that I probably would never go for the first time because of how
It's set up.
well no because just people are people are dickheads, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I see what
it
you're
is.
saying.
Like when I'm at the drag at the racetrack and somebody's staging or something, like I'm there to coach these people. I help people, line up or whatever, and try to give as much advice to make their next hit better and better. I don't down people, anybody that's racing, I tell people that they're slow when they need to be told that, but that's you guys make it comfortable for these guys to come out and to do it, because like they're still getting the media coverage, they're still getting like that whole like feel, and it gives them something to like learn and to come back, you know what I'm saying? And that's important, because
we got a sweet way to say you suck.
Yeah. That's what I mean, you know what I mean? But like I love that, the ride-alongs, you know what I mean, with you.
I've never been in a drift car, by the way.
Like,
come on.
Okay, Pedro's gonna go look for the car.
100%. I'm telling you right now.
What?
I've never been in a drift car.
Oh, wait.
Oh shit.
You came in the Beamer?
Yes, dude.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do
shit.
some shit.
oh, we out. All right, guys, everybody have a great
I'll
night.
be honest, and I've always
We're going to
said
do some real shit now.
And I've always said, I was like, if I do it, I want to do it with someone that knows how to really.
Oh,
Well,
guess what? Yo,
okay.
this
Well,
man right here, he really knows how to do it.
Okay.
Yo, hold
Now
that
that
up
you
again.
say that,
Hold that up.
Now-
Look, he's got the missing piece
now,
to your
okay.
puzzle.
Now that you say that, I'm not gonna ask you.
I've been a drift, and sorry to interrupt you, but I've been a drift fan for so long. I've been a drift fan for so long, even from like the late 2000s when I started getting into it. I started getting into like Daiho Doshiara, and did I say his name right?
Yeah, Dai.
Ryan Turk. We had Ryan Turk come to
Yeah.
one of our shows, and just some of the drifters. Jeff Stoneback is a good friend of mine in Philly, and I've just met a lot of drifters. I always admire what they do. Just never had the guts to say, hey, you know, can I drive in your car on the track? Because I understand they're there to work. They're there to compete. They're there to do whatever they're doing. I never wanted to get in the middle of what they were doing because I'm just a car show guy. You know what I mean? But like sometimes when you have like the ride-alongs, like I always kind of like missed it, or I never had the opportunity to say, hey, let me just do a ride-along real quick. Never
When
happened.
I got out of your car, I walked over to him and I said, go get in Pedro's car now.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
You're gonna die.
He had every opportunity to walk to Pedro's car
I'm
again.
not
What
gonna-
did I do? I was like, yo, so how do I get a ride in the car? And I got a helmet and I got in the car. I didn't leave Pedro's side until when I said, can I get a ride? I meant like, right now, can we go? Right? Let's go, bro. You know?
Yeah.
And it was lit, bro. It was that was my first time in
No,
a
and
drift car,
and it was crazy because you got to be in a tandem run because we tandem with
And
Mike.
I didn't even know that until you
With-
started chasing the car. I was like, oh shit, what I get myself? And the thing is that dude is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
during the tandem,
Kevin-
but he wasn't doing so well every time during the thing. So when I come out, I was like, oh man, he really picked the one to think like, yo.
No,
there was one that the dude was looking at me at the window, and I was like, don't look at me.
Look over there.
You're looking at the wrong thing, bro. I'm not a drifter, but your eyes should not be back here.
On my top 5 drift drivers, these two are in my top 5. You know?
Wow.
Santo almost hit me.
What?
After
The-
promising
the
me
great-
that he wasn't gonna hit
the
me,
great.
the first thing he did was hit the brakes, and he goes, "I'm so sorry." I trusted you, bro. Honestly, you guys both amazing drivers.
Yeah,
For real,
man.
for real, for real.
It's great to see you guys drive, man.
And
I
I
have
had the
videos
pleasure
from
of
that
shooting
weekend.
video with them and everything too. So definitely, awesome drivers from out here.
And so we're really going to
Drifting.
the theme.
I don't know.
Or or we just talking shit.
Oh,
I'm not talking shit.
Mira, anyway, other than that's after the podcast. Anything you want to say? You want to talk about a little bit about your plans for next year? You got anything different you're planning or?
Nope, we're not telling nobody our sauce.
Yeah, the sauce has
We're
to
just
be put away.
we're gonna make it better.
Make it
Yeah,
better.
definitely want to make
we're
it
gonna
better.
sit down with the team. We're gonna like
Reevaluate.
We're like a football game, you know what I mean? We're gonna look at what happened, the goods and the bads, and just make it better.
The one thing I can say for next year for sure, we have a full day setup. Full day.
Yeah,
For
sure.
versus this year was just one haul. So, but next year for sure we have a full day setup. The day before. So, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's my only complaint because this year it's the first year I had a booth, and I had a booth, and I had 7 cars that I had to,
Well,
to
what
take
messed
care
us
of.
up this year was that there was a graduation at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Usually
3
we-
graduations.
3 graduations or whatever.
Back to
so,
back to back.
So we would have been able to have more people, you know.
Yeah,
but outside of that, honestly, the only thing that I really want to say is like, you guys as a whole, don't stop doing what you guys are doing. Don't get the more, because I over the years I've seen there is a lot more exposure here in Puerto Rico. There's a lot more growing and everything, but just don't forget where you guys came from. You know what I mean? Don't lose that, because as soon as you guys lose that, you become like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? That's what's special about this island and the culture and the car community here. So definitely keep doing what you guys are doing, but don't change what you're doing unless it's, you know, for the better. Don't forget about, you know, working together and building on each other and stuff, because we unfortunately don't have a lot of that back home. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for us to find good staff members and good people to be on our team and stuff, to travel and to help us. So you guys have, you know, close circles and people that I can see just the relationships and the way that you guys are. So really just the whole entire island, all the car guys and car girls and people that are involved and everything, like, don't fucking change at all.
Nah.
Like, stay the same out here, and we're gonna do our part, work hard to keep coming back and trying to make it better. You know, we've been talking about a second date out here, possibly. We're looking to come back and do like a after movie, you know, preview
With
for
Halcyon.
you guys, with Halcyon's after movie and Dwarf Media, so that way you guys get to see the after movie before everybody else.
Before it goes on YouTube.
We're trying to, you know, work on things like that to give more back to, you know, be here more, be involved more, you know. But in order for us to do that, you guys just got to stay the same. The second you change, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
As soon as you remind me like Miami, I'm staying home.
If you don't come back, I'll just visit you.
That's fine. That's fine. I told you. We'll go drifting or something. You can drift my Accord. In reverse.
Nah, I just really appreciate the love and passion that everyone gives us, and in return, you know, and a lot of the times that people, you know, work very hard and sacrifice a lot of things just to make it to our weekend, you know, at the convention center. It's everyone's weekend, and I appreciate that a lot. Not even just from this year, but since the beginning. You know, when we first came here, it was really almost nerve-wracking in a sense, because yeah, we've done a couple cities in the United States, but this was different. You know, we didn't understand the culture as much, but we've learned it much more now, and we get it. And at the same time, I just really, really do appreciate like the amount of people that have brought not even just the attention of just signing up as a registered car guy, but you know, just the culture, the media, the industry, you know, the influencers and the people that matter, and that helps continuously make the ball rolling in Puerto Rico. Because without that, then we can't come. You know, if that doesn't continue, we can't come, because then there's no connection. You know what I mean? We have to have the connection from, even when we're not in the island and we're working on other shows. Just best believe that, not thinking that at all, that we're not thinking about the Puerto Rico show. We're always thinking about what can we do to make it better, you know, or how can we continuously make it better.
We have to do that with all the shows. You know what I mean? Like, we have to focus on all of our events as a whole, and that's the biggest part. And what's so hard is that, like, at times where, you know, we're working on multiple events and it's all different. You know what I mean? Like, a couple weeks ago, we were working on Vegas, Puerto Rico, and Philly all at the same time. It's 3 way different demographics, way different car people. You know, so it's hard to do that, you know. But as soon as Vegas is done, we have to start working, you know, shift forward, because Puerto Rico is 2 weeks away. But we're already talking about, like, the goods and the bads of Vegas, and how do we make it better? Do we come back? And all that stuff, you know. Those are, so it is a continuous thing. So it's a lot of work on all aspects, from our end and you guys' end, because it takes a lot of time to prep. So if we all keep doing that together, and like I said earlier, you know, we keep respecting each other, we're all going to keep growing, and we're all going to keep being able to do the shit that we love, you know?
For sure.
That's the most important thing. If you really think about it, man, like, if you look at it, that's the only part that really should motivate us. The second we stop being like that, we don't get to enjoy the shit that we love the most.
Yeah,
And go to a regular job, punch in,
we
and
feel
do some
we feel
bullshit, you know?
very grateful. We're very motivated for you guys, and we really thank you all.
And
all
that's
out
how
for
we
that.
feel.
Yeah.
So we thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
That's the crazy part. Is like you guys are so appreciative, but in reality,
It motivates us
we
to do more.
literally feel the same way. It's very equal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's no, we're not greater. We're the same thing as you guys. The difference is you have a brand, we have a show. We have a building, you have the cars. You know what I mean? Like it's equal. We're not. The way you guys treated us when we came out here is amazing. But at the end of the day, you guys are just as famous as us, bro. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. You know, I can't drift a car like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? But he can't chase a car in the street the same way I can. But that's what makes it work, and that's what makes fire content for people to see and for these brands to keep going. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you guys, the island, and every car guy across the country that helps us keep this show going on.
For sure.
Sure.
Thank you.
So thanks for your time, man. I
Thank
think
you,
I
guys.
think we're done today with the podcast. Socials. Give me your socials so you guys can know.
Tuner Evo, obviously you guys know. My personal one is Mr. SGP Society. That's where I put all my work, all the funny stuff, and all my sarcasm is gonna be found there, guys.
I'm gonna make sure to follow that.
You make sure you follow me, bro.
My personal Instagram is J_Tuner Evo, JAY_ Tuner Evo, and my photography page is the letter J Martinez 21, and obviously Tuner Evo. For sure.
Got it.
Mhm. Thank you.
Bueno, con eso terminamos este fabuloso podcast. Nos pueden seguir a nosotros, Pedro Drift Island en Instagram, Josian Drift Island en Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, y donde no nos puedas encontrar, nos busca aquí en T-shirt Printer del Levitown. Y con esto terminamos este podcast, fabuloso podcast. Gracias. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Gracias a los productores de Creamy también. No se nos puede obligar.
Gracias a Creamy
Creamy
también,
Brand.
Kenny y Chris McBride, que siempre nos dan la mano en esto. Y con eso nos vemos la semana que viene, mi gente.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Guys.